Evening, people. How we all doing? How we doing? So, let's do a proper stream tonight, and hopefully the internet is a little bit stronger than it was last night. I don't know what happened last night. I know the sound quality wasn't the best on it, and apologies for that. I have to try and test it mic on tonight or this evening, so hopefully that's better. So we get a few people in the building, and we have a proper little discussion over this because I kind of got a bit caught up last night in the live stream having some guys on, and this is going to be 100% solo. We'll go for about an hour, but be interesting to know what the subs thought on the fight is. You know, I watched it again this morning, and Fury looked good. All right, I'll admit Fury looked very good. I was very impressed with how Fury looked, but my days, Dillian Whyte looked poor. I mean, in hindsight, with the benefit of hindsight, him against Oliver Lane, that might not have gone well. Noam says, why do you think Dillian Whyte was going Towan? I don't know what Towan is, but if you mean like he went downhill pretty quick. IG man, was at the fight last night. Atmosphere was amazing. I'm really disappointed in Dillian Whyte's performance. The atmosphere when I was rewatching it, it didn't like. I'll take your word on that. It kind of seemed a bit more like, how do I describe it? Kind of a bit more reserved, if you know what I mean. Just from the outside looking in. Obviously, you were there, but they really came to life when the knockout happened. And again, I agree. I was very disappointed in Dillian Whyte. Very. Obviously, look, I picked him to win. I really did think he'd do more than he did, but my days, it was bad. I mean, like he was like a fish out of water. Big up to E Machine, Jordan. Big up to you, Rowan. Good evening to you, my man. IG man, I think it was an okay performance from Fury, but he did seem slower. Well, he would a little bit because he's in the he's a lot heavier now and he's older. The wear and tear. I don't expect him to have the like. I was watching the Klitschko fight from my sins in the preview for this, and boy, the foot speed he had there looked a lot quicker. Big up to Adam. All right, yes. Salute to Jamie. Thank you, my man, as always. I'm delighted to see your channel going well. And me and you, Tuesday, have that penciled in. Who's your provider, G-Man? I'm with Sky, and my Wi-Fi was acting up big time last night. Now, I'm with a crowd here called Air. And to be honest with you, mate, I've been using them for about 10, 15 years. I've never had an issue with them. And it would be last night when I needed that they started, lagging out a bit. I did actually, that's a good question. That's a very good question from TG. I seen the scorecards, right? I think it was Robert Tapper. He gave Tyson Fury every single round, as I myself did as well. The first round you could kind of hit and miss that round. But one of the judges gave Dillian Whyte a round. I think he gave him the second round, if memory serves me correctly. But amazingly, bizarrely, one judge had Dillian Whyte losing by only just 1 point. He gave him, bizarrely, the second round, which I thought was a clear round for Tyson Fury. And the third round, which was an even clearer round for Tyson Fury. One would have you wonder if Dillian Whyte had been able to avoid that uppercut and the fight had gone long, what way would they have scored this fight? Because, look, it's not like Dillian Whyte was ahead on the scorecards. He wasn't ahead. But it's bizarre when you see a judge giving a guy a fight or giving a fighter rounds where he clearly didn't win. Like, I'll actually try and get the scorecards up here just to see who gave who what. It was absolutely bizarre scoring. And I think we're seeing that too much now. I mean, to win. Big up to Mick every single time. Big up to you, my man. Let's have a look-see. Yeah, so one judge gave Dillian Whyte the first round. I can't really argue too much. Like, the first round, nothing really happened. You could give it either guy. But it was the guy, Paleo. The second and third round he gave to Dillian Whyte. So he would have had Dillian Whyte ahead going into the fourth round. Crazy. Fury made Whyte look poor. Fury makes everyone look bad when he's in form. He made Klitschko look amateurish. Wilder battled it in the second fight, and Whyte didn't look professional. Do you know what I got to say about Deontay Wilder? We can criticize him all we want, and we can say he's got peg legs. We can say this, but he definitely has a better chin than Dillian Whyte at this stage, because Dillian Whyte, the first meaningful shot from Fury, And even a right hand that I don't think a lot of people see was the third round. It landed, it grazed Dillian Whyte. Like, he partially blocked it, but his legs buckled. His legs definitely buckled. Wilder, he was taking shots left, right, and centre from Fury, especially in the third fight. And he only went down when he was absolutely knackered. Should Fury been disqualified? I'm surprised he didn't get a point taken off him. I seen that, received 18%, so it's an 85, or sorry, it's an 82-18 split. Or will Frank withhold it? I doubt he'll withhold it. I very much doubt that. But I wouldn't be shocked if Frank tries to sign Dillian Whyte. Seriously, it wouldn't shock me at all if old Frankie boy decides, do you know what, Dillian, if you liked how I handled this, if you fancy, moving over here, come and join Queensbury. Wouldn't shock me in the slightest. I think Dillian Whyte was nervous and he used a lot of energy because he was nervous. I think Usyk will be a good test for Fury because of the ring IQ. Well, it was interesting, wasn't it, seeing Dillian Whyte come out boxing southpaw. I mean, I certainly, that caught me by surprise. I was like, what? Dillian Whyte, my man, boxing southpaw. That surprised me. Tyson Fury in the first round, he does tend to take a look at the guy. He doesn't tend to really step on the gas that much in the first round. But one would make you wonder against someone. See, I still think Alexander Usyk is a tough fight for Tyson Fury. I don't see that as a foregone conclusion because I see the southpaw stance possibly giving Tyson Fury a few issues. But Usyk is a natural southpaw. He's shorter. He's faster. He has a lot of speed. I can see that giving Tyson Fury fits. Not to say Usyk beats him necessarily, but I can see him giving Tyson Fury all he can handle. Klitschko did the whole career. The Wilder fans ecstatic that, yeah. The Wilder fans loving it. Matchroom influence? Nah, definitely. I get called the matchroom hater all the time, mate. Not really. The scoring is nothing normal in boxing. Sadly, you're right. Unfortunately. I just don't understand it. Like, how these judges, like how 99% of boxing fans can see a fight this way. And the judges, who are supposed to be the ones who pick up on things, who know what they're looking for, can see it completely. Like that third, like the second and third round were Tyson Fury rounds. There's no even debate in it. I can't make out how you could even fathom giving them rounds to Dillian Whyte. Especially the second and third. I mean, those rounds were clearly Fury rounds. The push didn't matter. In fact, saved Dillian Whyte from potential scary KO. If he'd, yeah, that's a good point. He was done. Like the push didn't matter. I know he pushed him down, but it didn't matter at the end. He was done. It's worth watching the Tommy Fury fight. It's all right. I've seen it. It was all right. It's nothing special. He called out Jake Paul at the end. My dad said we can put some respect. We can put some respect on Wilder's name now. To be fair, Wilder took them shots a lot better than Dillian Whyte did. You can push opponents when they are on your chest. And Dillian Whyte was going down anyway, so it made no difference. I feel Usyk. So do I. Not necessarily saying I pick him, but I feel he caused him issues. Even in Sergey, there you go. Fury was impressive last night, but it's beyond a doubt. Whyte was awful, terrible movement and coordination. Man is shot at this stage. I agree. And I do wonder, you see, when they were showing Dillian Whyte warming up in the dressing room, there was a lot of weights there. That's a worry. If you're lifting weights before you, because anyone who does a lot of weight resistance training will know, if you lift weights, you don't want to do cardio straight after it because you're already pretty fatigued. And B, your muscles have already built up the lactic acid. So what's the point in doing cardio after? It's just going to tire, it's going to knacker you. So I wonder, was he doing a few too many weights before he did that? Should they do something about the A side making the challenger wait a half hour and getting cold? I doubt, man. It's been going on for how long? Look at Prince Naseem. He used to make them wait for God knows how long. Usyk is, I agree. And I think he'd beat AJ. I think Usyk will beat AJ, but I think that Tyson Fury beats Anthony Joshua. Straightforward enough. Might have one or two scares, but straightforward enough. Thank you for the super chat, Jordan. Appreciate that, my man. Or girl. I don't know. See, that name could be used for both male and female. So if you're a man, big up. If you're a girl, how you doing? Only kidding. Do you think Whyte should hire a new trainer? If so, who? I was thinking maybe Peter Fury, who could work with his footwork. Well, he definitely needs to work on the footwork, but I think Dillian Whyte at this stage, I don't see him doing much else in the sport. I think that he's 35 now. I can see him maybe looking to get one big payday and then call it a day. I tell you, I wouldn't be shocked if he goes and signs with Frank Warren. I wouldn't be shocked at all. I wouldn't be shocked if he looks to target, like Frank Warren. Frank is obviously got Daniel Dubois versus Trevor Bryan. He's going to try and sell Daniel Dubois as the WBA heavyweight champion, the regular champion. He's going to try and sell that. And he'll obviously try and sell a defense between Dubois versus Whyte on pay-per-view. Easily see that happening. And I can easily see them going that route. Can easily see it. Can easily see it. I'd say Frank Warren to be on the phone. That's why when people say, will Frank withhold his purse? I reckon Frank Warren is looking at Dillian Whyte thinking, I've got some fighters that I have a lot of money invested in. And a win against Dillian Whyte on their resume could go a long way. And I reckon he's looking at Dubois because we're all picking Dubois. And I think Dubois is going to knock Trevor Bryan's spark out. And he might be looking at Dubois thinking, I get Dillian Whyte out on some card, main event some card against some guy who's not very good. Get him in there against Dubois. They'll sell it as a world title fight. Probably do it on pay-per-view. And Dubois is elevated. I mean, from the matchmaking point of view. And at this stage now, Dubois, I favour him over Dillian Whyte. I would. He seems to be improving fight after fight. He is a tremendous puncher with the right hand. I mean, Daniel Dubois would knock Dillian Whyte's spark out. I'd appreciate the £5. Thank you so much for that. They need to overhaul the scoring system. It clearly doesn't work. And what do you replace it with, though? I've often wondered if you got the judges and you didn't put them ringside, you put them in a room on their own with just the fight. They're not listening to any commentary. They're just focused on the fight. Well, I'd always have picked Wilder over Whyte. Whyte has only ever won a vacant British title, just another matchroom hype job getting found out. I wouldn't go that. Dillian Whyte he's not a terrible fighter, you know. I mean, I think Dillian Whyte gives most people a hard time, but I think we learned the difference between a fighter who was world level thereabouts and the cream of the crop. If he'd fought Usyk would have toyed with Dillian Whyte, in my opinion. Big up to Nordic. Shout out to Nordic, nearly at the 10k mark. Big up to you, my man, up there in Scotland. So who is the end boss? Or who is the end boss, Fury or Usyk? Well, they need to fight each other to figure that out, mate. I thought that too. Why lift weights? Your guess is as good as mine, mate. And you know something? People say Whyte came in too heavy. I've seen Whyte come in at that weight before, but he's not looked as aesthetically good. He's not looked as aesthetically good at that weight in terms of he's had a bit more flesh. I wonder, has he spent too much time in the gym over there in Portugal, lifting too much weight, pumping the weights in? Because I'll tell you one thing, right? Against Oscar Rivas, and I know Oscar Rivas he's not an amazing world-class heavyweight, to say the least. But he looked very good against Oscar Rivas, and he was 259 in that fight, right? Aesthetically, he wasn't as good as he was in the Fury fight. But he looked a lot more energized. He looked better in that fight. And I wonder if Dillian Whyte has just decided, and it drives me absolutely crazy when fighters do this. I mean, you've no idea. I really respect the old ways, and it drives me flipping crazy when fighters go thinking, I need to pack on weights, I'll lift as many weights as I can, and they put on X amount of muscle. It doesn't do anything. I mean, I don't, look, if you're talking about maybe like Usyk-wise, where he packs on a little bit of muscle, but he still retains his speed, that's fine. But when you're packing on excess muscle, it just doesn't work. Like, you're literally gaining absolutely nothing other than aesthetic look. Then I was for credit to Fury, AJ, please win and set up this big fight. I think even if AJ loses, mate, he'll still take that fight. That fight's still a big fight, even if AJ loses. Big up the king of Rip Jeans. No matter how many super chats I get, I will never go away. Rip Jeans are my thing. I love them. No, mate, no. Even now, Wilder doesn't even need to land flush. And Dillian Whyte leaves himself so open that I think Wilder, it's not a case, like, I thought this, this is one of the reasons why I was kind of surprised the Wilder-Whyte fight didn't happen, because it's such an easy fight for Deontay Wilder. Like, it's just such an easy fight for him. He will knock Dillian Whyte's spark out. Even a couple of years ago, before Dillian Whyte got knocked out by Povetkin, I was like, he's going to knock Dillian Whyte's spark out. He doesn't even need to land full force. He will knock Dillian Whyte's spark out. He looked nervous. I think for Dillian Whyte, it's all well and good being the pay-per-view star and filling out the O2, but this was a big occasion. He just turned 34. Just the reason why I say 35 is on his box record says he's 35. What all the talk of resume means, absolutely nothing. Resume won't stop you getting punched in the face. True that. Oh, they would. I'm sure that Boxer or someone like that would try and sell that. I really wouldn't. Although saying that, might be an interesting fight because both guys look fairly shot to bits at this stage. How can Whyte navigate himself to it? He can't. And you know something? He's been so hard with the WBC, like trying to force this, that they are not going to make life easy for him moving forward. They are just not going to make life easy for him. So the WBC, I would say he's almost kind of ruined that opportunity because he's made life so hard for him. They're not going to give him a world title shot anytime soon, in my opinion. Or they're not even going to rank him too highly. I think it's going to be a real hard ask for Dillian Whyte. Let's just check. We have 152 in the chat and 32 likes. If you could smash the like button, help me get over the 50 like mark. I'd appreciate that. AJ against Whyte. If AJ loses to Usyk, they may very well do that. They maybe try and build that as both guys coming off the back of losses. They might very well try and do that. Wilder can't see. I think stylistically, Ruiz, that style of Andy Ruiz is just all wrong for Dillian Whyte. Pick a style that is bad for Dillian Whyte. You chuck Tyson Fury style and you chuck Andy Ruiz in there as well. I think Ruiz would counter Dillian Whyte to death. I don't think that fight would go very well for Dillian Whyte. I'd make him heavy favourite over Dillian Whyte and Chisora. The two fights most likely would be Chisora and AJ. We can honestly say Dillian Whyte was overrated because of matchroom necessity and using his name to build AJ's resume. He has done an interview. He has actually, and I'll get a quote from the interview here for you if you give me 2 secs. Where is it? Dillian Whyte on his KO defeat to Tyson Fury. Quote here. This is from the BBC. I don't think there was a lot in this fight. It was a close fight. No, it wasn't. It was one slip and then I got caught with a shot. It is what it is, man. I didn't feel like I was outclassed or he was this level and I was this level. So basically he's saying that he feels that it was a close competitive fight and that he was doing pretty much just as good as he was giving, as good as he was getting. I don't see that. We all don't see that. I call BS on that. But at the end of the day, what do you expect? You know, I mean, fighters, they'll try and cushion the blow whatever way they can. So 44 likes. So I need 6 more likes to get to 50 likes. And there's 157 in the chat. Big up yourselves. Yeah, that's bizarre. He gave him the 3rd round and the 2nd round. It's bizarre. Big up to Jake. I'm on a bicycle through central London right now. Listen to G-Man. Yes, big up to London. I love London. Head back over there in June. Love a G-Man. Usyk would terrorise Whyte. He would. According to... Yep. I seen that. Dillian Whyte got smoked like a wolf pack. I thought I needed to come into the light to close the distance. Not heavy. Try and lean on Fury. Reeves is a Bridgerweight now. Yeah, he's a Bridgerweight champion. I mean, Jesus. I mean, there's the achievement, isn't it? Xavier Miller was Oompa Loompa. I have been saying this before the fight. He was too emotional. I thought the best Dillian Whyte recently looked was against Povetkin in the first fight before he got caught. He looked quite good in that fight. The best version of Whyte wasn't beating Fury last night. He couldn't get near him. Yeah, I think the best version of Dillian Whyte still doesn't beat Tyson Fury. Dillian Whyte is finished, mate. I don't know where he goes from here. As I said, he'll probably... I wouldn't be shocked at all if he goes with Frank Warren and they look to me, put him out on a card, maybe against someone like Carlos Takam or someone like that. Manuel Charles, someone like that, and then get him in there with Dillian, or get him in there with Dubois. If he beats, when he beats, he's going to beat the crap out of Trevor Bryan. Frank delivers another big heavyweight fight. And Joe Parker was with the Zone. So, right, Eddie Hearn's probably going to lose Dillian Whyte. Joshua fights on Sky, even though he's still Eddie Hearn, he fights on Sky. Parker's gone. Don't know what Chisora. I've heard a few whispers that Chisora is maybe going to Ben Shalom. They're looking to maybe get Hughie Fury. What other heavyweights has he got that are big time, that we can get big fights in? Because Johnny Fisher, oh well and good, but he's still low down the card. Who else has Eddie Hearn got? You need heavyweights. I'm telling you now, you need these heavyweights, and you need named heavyweights. So Parker going, Dillian Whyte, I would imagine, I'd be very surprised if he stays with Hearn. Joshua's on Sky. What heavyweights have the zone got? I don't give a crap who you are or how good a promoter you are. You need heavyweights in your stable. Never lifted weights, only now and again. I don't agree personally with most fighters doing them, to be honest with you. I think that, look, I look at the old, I'm very old school. I'm a boxing, I don't want to say historian, but I know a lot about the history of boxing. And I look back at the old days and how they did things back then. And you got to remember, right? You have fighters nowadays who have this world-class nutrition, strength and conditioning, and they're absolutely gassed after 10 rounds. Whether they're heavyweight, whether they're welterweight, there's some who are just gassed. You had fighters back in the day going 15 rounds at a very good work rate, and all they were doing was doing what their coach told them. You know, Rocky Marciano, his daily diet consisted of breakfast in the morning and a big steak and potato meal with greens in the evening, something like 2 pounds of steak. And Marciano could throw, but now, by today's standards, he'd be what, a light heavyweight, but he could go for days, that lad. Whyte should fight Jared Anderson. Oh, that wouldn't go well for Dillian Whyte. I don't know about that. Whyte look aged overnight, shot to pieces. Yep. Whyte Dubois will be a good crossover fight. I think that's the fight Frank Warren is looking to make, mate. I'd be very surprised if he's not looking to make that fight. 245 in the build and only 66 likes. Let's get to 100 likes. And if anyone hasn't subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button. Very rare I get this many in a normal Sunday sesh, so appreciate this. That undercard was appalling last night. The main event was was underwhelmed. The easiest, yeah. The undercard was pretty crap. Although saying that, I think we can all agree that Isaac Lowe versus Nicky Ball was a fun fight. I certainly found it entertaining. Has gone fantastic given his many flaws. Look, here's the thing we need to talk about. You've touched on a very good point there. Dillian Whyte is a multimillionaire. Dillian Whyte's headline pay-per-views. He's done an awful, like, put it like this, right? They were world champions. Someone told me in a previous watch-along, it might have been the Conor Ben watch-along, that Terry Flanagan was a world champion for, what, 3 years? And apparently he's working in Home Store and More. A world champion, a recent world champion, working in Home Store and More. Dillian Whyte, one title shot his whole career, multi-millionaire. I know, weight divisions, heavyweights get more money. But that's still, Dillian Whyte's been able to manage himself quite well. Obviously not in terms of getting a title shot, but in terms of getting the big money fights. He's made a bomb. Wilder against AJ now, I don't know. But 2018 Wilder, I would have picked him over AJ. Dillian Whyte, go enjoy your money. Yep. I hope you get 200 views. 269. I must have hit in well with the algorithms. And now we're only 20 likes away from 100 likes. So smash that like button, people. Smash it if you could. Help your boy out. Help your boy out. Yeah, I gave him the first round as well. Hrgovic versus Whyte. I think Hrgovic is going to push for that title shot. He's fighting Zhilei Zhang. He's going to beat the crap out of him. Whyte didn't even get the 20%. Whyte looked nervous. I think it hit him. I think it's all well and good being the undercard fighter, but even when he main event, it's mainly in the MEN and places like that. This was his show with Tyson Fury, and it was like 90,000 ready for you. If you haven't yet, you need to sort out your life. If you haven't liked the like, hit the like button. There we go, 300 in the building. Do the Chisora trilogy. They'll still make some good money for that. The Zone might even try and do that on pay-per-view. Conspiracy. The Zone UK signed Fury to a 3-fight, 150. Eddie Hearn's even said it. He regrets not signing it. And I think Eddie Hearn, he did look at going for Tyson Fury, but he wanted to give him harder fights when he came back from the ban. Like, he wanted him in there with kind of fringe contenders, which Fury was clearly not ready for. And I do wonder, is Eddie Hearn regretting that and just thinking, if only I'd work with, because Fury is a better option. He's a better option nowadays than AJ. Don't see any more smaller becoming heavyweights aim for Bridgerweight now. Babbage is. I think Babbage is fighting the Bridgerweight now. Edward is finished. It's going to be tough. Not allowed BBC in the house. Yeah, I can't stand them. I can't stand. My dad carries out unlike normal during the you-know-what. Never got the Holocaust. Yeah, the BBC is a joke, but they're not as bad as RTE. We have them here. They're worse. Oh, good Lord, RTE. I mean, hang their head in shame. Gee, man, we need more big heavyweight fights. I agree. And Hatman touched on this, and he's spot on. Having these goddamn rematch clauses, it holds up the division. I mean, it literally holds the division up. You know, I've heard some people defend the rematch clause. Oh, but we need, it's like, hang on a minute, right? We have an undisputed fight that's there that we can't have because Usyk signed the rematch clause, right? You've got mandatories waiting in the wing who may very well have to sign a rematch clause. It's just BS. I understand it with voluntaries. I get that. That's no issue. But if you've earned a mandatory shot, just no rematch. I don't like it. I don't think it's a part of boxing. I think it's just no. Fun fact, I boxed for Albania. Big up the boxing waffle. We've got another Florian Marku in the building. Your dad is an intelligent man. He is. Judge him. He's spot on. Close to my own heart. At this stage, I think Whyte still beats the... Really? Ooh, there's a bet. I can't say anything. I picked Dillian Whyte to beat Tyson Fury. I got rightly caught. I really got myself caught out there. And you know, like, I don't mind people saying, gee, you picked the wrong guy. I don't mind. Like, it is what it is. I got caught up in the hype. I really did. Oh, yeah, that's a good question. What do you think of David Alaya? I thought he lost to Kamil Sakalovsky personally, but he's definitely got potential there. The guy he fought, he gave it a go in the first round, but he was poor, very poor. Parker, that's a good fight, man. It's a good fight. I think someone said because I picked Joyce, they're like, Parker clearly going to win. My record on picks is not bad. Like, if you go back through the channel, I've only got about 2 or 3 really bad picks. Most of the time, my picks are quite good. I'm glad that I didn't waste my hard-earned universal credit on the fight. Don't say that. How does this guy know what's next for Fury? How does this guy know what's next for Fury? I'm asking the question, mate. That Fury KO reminds me of Pulev. The way he went down was actually quite similar. Obviously, the Pulev one was a left hook. That's a good fight. Yoka. Oh, I think Yoka stalled out a bit. And I wonder how his head's going to be following on from the divorce. Because you got to figure out those things can actually affect the fighter mentally. So I wonder how his head's going to be following on from the divorce. So we'll need to see how he looks against Piccoli in May. When are you hoping to get 10K? I'm hoping, mate. I'm hoping by Christmas. I've got 360 at 5 in the building. If you could, hit the like button. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. Help me get to 10K. How about Dillian? Dillian's a good fighter. See, Dillian is one of them fighters where I see some people who just shut him down and say he's garbage. I don't think he is. I think Dillian, he's not a world beater, but he's not a bad fighter. And I'm telling you now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But Dillian will get a top win. He will turn over a top guy. I'm not saying an AJ or Fury or an Usyk, but if you put him in there with someone like a Michael Hunter, I wouldn't be shocked if he beat him. He should get 10K by the end of the year. I hope so. I will. There's no hoping. I will. The lovely Karma Serene, big up to you, my lady. How are you? Someone last week said, favor Whyte over AJ. Oh, no. No. He was just as bad as he's always been. Yeah, I think we all kind of got... I think I bought into it. I'll admit, I've done that before, but I really made a howler this time. Did Whyte waste his prime years? Potentially. I mean, think of it like this. It was around about this time in 2019. They were looking to get him versus AJ in Wembley Stadium. I mean, look, I would have picked AJ. The majority would have picked AJ, but it was a fresher Dillian Whyte. And who's to say he wouldn't have caught AJ and have been able to finish him this time? Yeah, I definitely think it's an interesting fight, but I favour Yoka slightly in it. I favour Yoka slightly. The atmosphere was tense and flat. It seemed that apparently Carl Froch said there were still some empty seats. Ha 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 ha. But I ever watched the YB's videos? Not really, to be honest with you, mate. I've seen a few of his videos, but I haven't watched that many. Anyone's to match Tyson against Bellew. Ugh. Remember Bellew was calling out Tyson at one stage when he came back. Remember Bellew saying he wants to fight Wilder, and then he met him and it was like, no, I don't want to fight him. Dillian Whyte swinging his arms. It was ridiculous the amount of swinging he did last night. You think Dillian Whyte should stay with Queensberry? I'd say he's better options. I genuinely, like, I think Frank Warren is getting some heavyweights in. Eddie Hearn seems to be losing heavyweights by the day. And, genuinely, I wouldn't be shocked. So that's why people were saying to me that they think that Frank Warren may withhold Dillian Whyte's purse. I don't think he will. I don't think he will. I think he's going to try and be as good to Dillian Whyte as he can be in the hopes of getting Dillian Whyte over to Queensberry. Why? Because he will want Daniel Dubois is going to beat Trevor Bryan, in my opinion. It's a foregone. He's going to beat the crap out of Bryan. But he'll be thinking, I want to rebuild Daniel. I'll get him a WBA regular title, pay-per-view against Dillian Whyte. There you go. I picked Dubois at this stage. Why has Hatman subscribers catapulted? Because he's extremely, extremely good. Big up to Hatman. One of my favourites. No. I still think he'd beat Pulev. I still do. That's a good one. I don't think he can. You got to give Fury his credit. Well said, G-Man. Last night should have been Fury versus Usyk, but anyway. I mean, he's putting rematch clauses in there for 10 rounders. It obviously it says to me, right, that Hearn hasn't got confidence in a lot of these guys. Because why would you need to have a rematch just in case? People would say it's an insurance policy. Well, if you're so confident your fighter's going to win, why do you need to keep putting rematch clauses? I understand it for voluntaries, but you're talking about guys who are not even fighting for a WBA Intercontinental title. Ooh. And you have a rematch clause in there for it? Come on, get out of here. Hey, G, my first time commentating. Do you believe Whyte has the capability to win a world title? Not at this stage, mate. At one stage, potentially the right fight, maybe a lucky shot. But right now, no. I think that they'll look to do him against... And look, don't get me wrong. Look, Fury could fight Usyk this year. He could win them all. Fury could beat Usyk and retire. Those titles get stagnated. They get vacated. Who's to say Whyte doesn't stick around to pick up one of them? I don't know. I'm not Nostradamus, but I don't see it at this stage. G-Man, who wins between Whyte and Canelo? The tainted beef. Big up to TRZ Anonymous. Hey, G-Man, Whyte's major downfall was terrible footwork and lack of defense from the uppercut. Yes, he's come so far. Yeah, like at the end of the day, like this was a guy who people were writing off going into the AJ fight to get knocked out in a round or two. So he's done brilliant for himself in order to get to this stage. But those flaws, like you say, the footwork, he's never worked on it. He's lacked the defense from the uppercut. These little things that he's never been able to fix. 434 in the chat. Jesus. People, if you haven't already, hit subscribe and smash the like button. I don't think I've ever had this many in a Sunday session. So big up to everyone. I mean, I hope I'm not missing any of these chats. Sorry if I am. You don't have Hayes' track record at least. Yeah, I'm not that bad. Canelo might not quite out. Look, I'm going to be frank. Right? I do think he's considering it. I do. But I think that he will stay. I do. I think he'll stay. Big up to Joe Stunner Boxing. People, Joe is a great channel as well. I've had him on a few times. So Joe Stunner Boxing just hit 550 subs, I think, mate. So go over and have a look at Joe Stunner Boxing. A great guy. Absolutely very... Oh, I didn't read that, actually, by the way. I picked Fury in 10, but can't pick around when it comes to one-punch KO. Whyte and it looks gone. Yeah, I definitely... Look, honest to God, right, that uppercut he hit Dillian Whyte with, I'm genuinely serious. I'm no lover of Deontay Wilder. He would have took that. He would have took that shot. Yeah. But I'm surprised he didn't stop Brazil, to be honest with you. What did you think of the Fury undercard? It was crap. But I enjoyed the fight he had with. I enjoyed the Isaac Lowe fight. That was fun. That was a fun little scratch. Cleveland, Ohio in the house. What's up there? Oh, yeah. Cleveland, Ohio in the house. Joe Joyce is the only heavyweight who we give a Tyson a good fight. Joe Joyce certainly wouldn't hold back. I know that. Whyte punch resistance is non-existent. Late to the party, brilliant analysis, G-Man. Thank you, my man. Thank you. Froch was bantering when he said I was there. It was ram-packed. Yeah. You know, just in case anyone in the chat, there's 450 in the chat, just in case no one knows. You know, Carl Froch fought in Wembley Stadium, you know, in front of 80,000. If anyone doesn't know that, I've just a bit of trivia there for you, just in case anyone doesn't know that. Do you think? Of course he does. I mean, he's got a puncher's chance, definitely. And look, he's going to come in and try and put it on Usyk. I think that's his best chance to win, to be honest with you. But it also has a chance to backfire spectacularly. Like, he's really going to need to try and put it on him early and get him out of there early. Because if that backfires, it could backfire spectacularly. That could really backfire bad spectacularly. People, we 465 in the chat. This is crazy. I don't recall ever having this many in. If you haven't, if you're new, if you're enjoying this, hit subscribe, smash the like button. We have 160 likes. Get another 40, we get to 200. What type of percentage of the top 10 heavyweights do you think are on PEDs? Mate, I'd say it's rampant in the sport. Honestly, it's probably rampant. Where does Joshua go if he loses the Usyk rematch? That's a very good question. They'll need to be careful moving him forward. If he loses the rematch, I mean, Jesus. I wouldn't be shocked if they tried to coax Dillian Whyte into a rematch, maybe as a little kind of confidence builder, and then maybe hope that Usyk fights Fury, and the winner of that obviously retires, vacates, they can pick up another title. Needs to leave his trainer, but going backwards is leaving Tibbs. The Tibbs situation is interesting, very interesting. Mark Tibbs is a great trainer. The Tibbs situation was interesting. It was so sudden as well. Oh yeah, Wilder would knock Johnny Fisher out spark. Yeah, I heard he got reported for that. Like, crazy. Tyen Boot is just, I mean, he is different breed. He is just different kettle of fish altogether. Some matchroom fighters are alright. Some of them are, but yeah. Eddie Hearn hasn't really been taking many of the like, if you remember when the GB team from 2016, he was signing all them lads, whereas now it's like he's signed barely any of them. Like, how many of the GB guys has he signed from the last turnover? It's very few. Very few. Just Tyson Fury moved retired before. He was like, I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't. Joe said in his preview video that the fight would probably be won by the footwork, but didn't expect Whyte to be so bad. I think me and you both. I think, like, that's the thing about Dillian Whyte. We know he's got bad footwork. We know it's not good, and we know that against Tyson Fury that could come back to bite him. But I thought he'd address that. Nope. Do you know what I think of the performance of Tommy Fury? He looked alright for what he was in there with. Called out Jake Paul. I still think Jake Paul beats him. John Fury now, there'll be a knock on my door and it'll be John Fury. What did you say about my son? Kavalaskis versus Ben will be a war. Kavalaskis, I would give him a very good shot against Conor Benn. He's absolutely... Kavalaskis is massive at welterweight. He's huge. And Ben is not a big welterweight. I'd give him a very good shot over Conor Benn. Paul beats Tommy Fury. I'd pick him. Fury is only 33. He is, but it's been a hard 33 years. Funny how Fury hangs around with, Daniel L. Chapahan. Frosh Groves. That was one of the worst stoppages I've seen. That was a horrible stoppage. That's right up there. Howard Foster is invincible. Yeah, so he says. Him and Molly May. I keep saying, like, people keep asking me, I don't see what the appeal of Molly May is. She just looks fairly plastered together. But maybe that's just me. Would you collab with the Kent Irish guy who goes on Porky's Corner? I mean, I'll be open. If they ask me, I have no problem. I'll give anyone a dig out. I think Fury's retirement is a play to make a purse offer as high as possible. Yeah, I do think there's some truth to it, though. I do genuinely think there's some truth to it. What's up, G-Man? Dylan, big up. Dylan is useless. I'm sorry, but yeah, I got that pick way wrong. Would get battered by Usyk. Look, I definitely think I'd pick him slightly over Usyk. I would, but Usyk is alive in that fight, mate. He is. If ever there's a man he is live in that Usyk fight. Big fan of Pulev because I'm Bulgarian. Well, no, that's no problem. I mean, Pulev back when he was coming out, Pulev started his career so good. He really did. Big up to Daz. Whyte, another former world title challenger. Oh no, I hope that doesn't go that way. Yeah, I know, Danny. That's disgraceful. G-Man, do you think Fury is retiring because of El Chapahan? No, no. I genuinely do think he maybe is starting to feel that. I don't want to say he's going out of love with it per se, but I do think he's starting to think, do I want to do this anymore? I don't think the El Chapahan thing makes a difference. Big up to Sean. Do you think Joshua's resume is better than Tyson Fury's? The Parker win is good. The Povetkin win is good. Whyte, Wilder, and Klitschko, Chisora. I would say Joshua's is just slightly better, but Fury, I'd pick him over Joshua. God help AJ if he wins the rematch, because I don't know, I'm picking it. AJ, like, I think Fury would absolutely wreck AJ mentally before the fight even starts. Will be around for long. Yeah. He's getting up there, but Usyk lives the life. I mean, Usyk, if ever a man is a consummate professional, it's always under Usyk. The Hearn and Sky Air was the best era in my opinion. People moan about the casuals, but you see, that's the thing. Like, we moan about them, and you've touched on a good point there. We moan about them, but we need them. We need them. We need the casuals. We do. As much as we moan about them, but they can be bloody annoying. We need them. I mean, these guys would be getting nowhere without them. And none of us would really be getting anywhere without the casuals. We need the casuals in the sport of boxing. I've no doubt about that. And the Hearn Sky era was good. You know, he put on, like, I was looking, some of the cards he put on that were on normal Sky were very good. It's just that I think Hearn, his ego blew up a bit, and he just lost touch of the fans. He just lost touch of what the fans want, and I just think now he's paying the price at the zone. It's really hitting him how big a help Sky were with the marketing. Like, I was out with my friends there before doing this. We were watching the Liverpool game, and I was just thinking, like, how many million are watching this game? You run a little preview of an AJ fight or a Dillian Whyte fight. People will take note of that. No one knows Katie Taylor's fighting this weekend. He doesn't have a big platform to build. Nope, he doesn't. He's trying to get people like Sky Nicholson is cool. She's not a bad fighter, but he's trying to get people who sell. You know, Babbage, Fisher, Bridges, Nicholson. People he can sell to the public who are not maybe the best fighters. Nicholson's a good fighter, to be fair. But people will just simp over her. Yeah, Fury will retire because he's fighting the El Chapahan. Yeah, and he battered Avanesian. AJ might have better resume, but would save him from losing the Fury. I'd pick Fury. It's ridiculous to say Ben will be... No, that is ridiculous. Who's saying that? I'd be very surprised if he ever wins a world title. How is El Chapahan seen in Ireland? In Scotland, people don't seem to mind. Yeah, he's known here. Like, even people who don't know boxing, even people like my friends who wouldn't be big boxing fans, they know MTK is El Chapahan. They know he's associated with him. They know that. So when MTK announced they were going tits up, they were like, "Oh, that's El Chapahan's crowd, isn't it?" And he's known here. I mean, the Regency Hotel shooting back in 2016. I mean, that was kind of the beginning. That was that pretty much killed boxing in Ireland. Because since then, now we never had many shows prior to that, but after the shooting in the Regency, that was in 2016, that pretty much killed Irish boxing. Irish boxing died that day. It was just, that was it. And we've never really had shows since. We probably had, that was in 2016, we've probably had about less than 12 shows in Ireland since then, if even. I hope not. I hope not for Khan's sake. He shouldn't be. He should retire. Who wins, Fury or Iron Mike? Prime for prime? I'd probably favour Fury because he is so much bigger than Tyson. He could like I'm telling you now, right? If Bone Crusher Smith could shut Mike Tyson down for 12 rounds, Fury's better than Bone Crusher Smith. He could do it. he's not shot, but I'd say he seems a bit kind of mentally a bit all over the place. People, we've got 521 in the chat. I don't think I've never had numbers like this. Appreciate it a lot. If you could, we're 20 likes away from 200 likes. If you could smash the like button. If you're new, if you're enjoying this stream, please hit subscribe. Help me get, I'm not far away. I'm getting there. The goal is 10K by the end of the year. Dillian needs to use I don't know. The Philly see the Philly shell, right? Too many fighters try and use it without even knowing how to actually properly use it. You saw that with people like O'Hara Davis. It's not easy to master that Philly shell. It's not a case of people look at Mayweather who mastered it. It's not as straightforward as that. Like the Philly shell is really difficult for fighters to work with. So when people say like you should use the Philly shell, I'm saying no, hang on a minute. Not everyone is Archie Moore. Not everyone is Floyd Mayweather. You can't just Philly shell it and you're good to go. It's a very difficult actual style to fight in. Fury with Arnett will come back for the winner of AJ Usyk. He has the mentality of Mayweather. Yeah, but see, he'll probably would he want undisputed? Because then he'd have to vacate his WBA or WBC. A gentleman inside and outside the ring. Nice one for answering that, mate. I'm trying to answer it, mate. It's very difficult, right? When there's 500 odd people in the chat and the comment section is shooting like, it's, spewing comments out like an anorexic spews their lunch out. It's very hard to keep track of somebody. He didn't, Wallen, you mean, went to hospital, smashed up eye. Yeah, Wallen smashed that eye up. I was looking at it, it was bad. Oh, his footwork is better than Dillian Whyte, mate. Surely one more match for all the belts. Yeah, I reckon he will. I reckon he will. Usyk will ever be able to close the distance on a man like that. Usyk's footwork, though, is so good that with Usyk's footwork, he can make the difference with that. Conor and Eddie said avoiding Avanesian. Well, considering they wanted him to vacate that title a couple of months ago, so Conor Ben could fight for the vacant title, says everything needs to be said about that. I think Ben has a shot against Avanesian personally, but I wouldn't be picking him. Truzan would break Ebony Bridges is what she is. The ball fight was great. Yeah, man, that was fun. He's a little pit bull, that kid. G-Man, who do you have? I've got Serrano beating Taylor on points. I think Amanda Serrano beats her on points. Yeah. I mean, he was landing on low with that left hook for fun. Everyone goes on about the size, yet Mike Tyson consistently beat big fights. Yeah, he did, but he never beat anyone who's 6'9". The biggest he ever fought was Witherspoon and Tucker, and both of them were 6'4" and 6'5". And believe me, like if you look at the Bone Smith fight's a horrible fight, but if you look at that, Bone Smith was able to shut Mike Tyson down just by clinching him. Fury is better than Smith, and I reckon he could be able to. I reckon he beat Tyson. Like Mike Tyson, people say he's invincible. A prime Mike Tyson was beatable. There was ways to beat a prime Mike Tyson, as Buster Douglas did. Buster Douglas people say he was out. He wasn't at his, he wasn't the best of shape, admittedly. Like he wasn't terrible shape against Douglas. But Douglas just kept him at range, tied him up when he wanted to get in close, worked when he didn't want to work, and when Mike Tyson wanted to work, he clinched him. Simple as. Who you got? Brook versus Eubank. I've got it's a closer fight now than I was expecting. And I've got Eubank just nicking it. Yes, I did. But you'd pick Tyson Fury to beat Mike Tyson. Yeah, because I'm looking at the styles, mate. Looking at the styles. Even to Laura, big up to you. From a stylistic point of view, like if you think of it like this, right? Boxing is not a case of he beat him, so he beats him because he's just better. It's not like that. So George Foreman beats Ken Norton. George Foreman beats Joe Frazier, but he gets beat by Muhammad Ali. Stylistically, it's a styles thing. Ali gets beat by Joe Frazier, avenges those two losses, and wins them fairly comfortably. The Trillion Manila was obviously a tough fight, but he stopped Joe Frazier. But arguably lost all 3 fights to Ken Norton. But yet, he was able to beat George Foreman. George Foreman knocked Ken Norton out in 2 rounds. People use it for a good look and not properly using it. I'm not saying how funny it is speaking in Fury in Ireland. He's well known. Yeah. He's well known over here. Is El Chapahan with that left. Yeah, Buster Douglas beat the living. That was a horrible beating. Like, and Mike Tyson. People can say what they want to say about Mike Tyson. He took that beating against Buster Douglas like a man. I mean, he got battered. I think people don't realize how bad that beating was. Douglas's jab was tremendous. He dropped a lot of people with that jab. Jab was tremendous. Buster Douglas was a useful fighter. He just had no hunger. He had no heart. That was his problem. But Buster Douglas as a fighter was very useful. I hope not. Oh my God. I cannot put into words how much I hate that franchise title. It's awful. He's retiring to avoid, the Wilder fight. Shout out to G-Man Box. Shout out to G-Man. G-Man, shout out to Dillian Whyte's achievements considering he's a kickboxer. I think that's kind of where the bad footwork comes from. You were doing a better job than Tyson, at least you're grafting through the comment section. Yes, thank you, my man, thank you. I always try and read the comments as much as I can. Each time you hit thumbs up, a Fury hater gets chinned. So there you go. If you don't like it, hit the thumbs up. A Fury hater gets chinned. G-Man, do you reckon Eddie and AJ are hoping Saudi strike a deal between Fury and Usyk and AJ fights the winner? They'd love that because they'd make a big bomb, but I don't know if Fury's even going to be around that long. Tyson would destroy Fury's mid-rift. Hey, look, Tyson would be game, but I just think Fury would win. Prime Lewis, I think Lewis's jab and footwork is so good. I think Lewis can fight inside. Lewis can throw uppercuts, and he's fought taller guys before. I'll get the name of the guy here, but he fought this guy in the amateurs, did Lennox Lewis. I'll get his name for you because I can't remember it. But it was a 6'9" guy. And Lennox Lewis, when you see how he was able to outbox this guy on the inside, and he was able to just, what was his name? It wasn't Jorge Luis. It was an English guy, I think it was. But I cannot remember his name, and I don't think it's stated here on Boxer. But he fought a guy who was about 6'9", and Lennox Lewis. You should see him throwing uppercuts on the inside. It was brilliant. He fought him in the 80s in the amateurs. Not your finest prediction. Yeah, didn't argue well. Big up to Andy Lee. Yep, big up to Andy Lee every time. Good guy. The Kronk style is great. Like Emmanuel Stewart in heavyweights with Kronk style is... Obviously, Emmanuel Stewart is not there anymore, but Sugar Hill Stewart, they know what it is. The Kronk style works well for heavyweights. It works well for right-handers as well. Lewis was undisputed. Lewis is one of my favourite fighters. Lewis is one of my favourites. Oh, man. Ike Ibeabuchi. What a fighter. The president. Ibeabuchi. Him against Tua. Ibeabuchi was an absolute legend. Absolute beast, I should say. It's a shame what happened to him, though. He just let things go all over the place. And Ibeabuchi had so much raw talent. Like, it's crazy. Agree. Joshua, Wilder, Parker, Usyk should all train with Sugar Hill. Perfect style. With Joshua, yeah, but he's never going to get that. In your opinion, it would have beaten Tyson Fury. The speed, technique would have factored. Would have been too much. Fury could have hooked his way through the 12 rounds, though. Yeah, like you could shut down Mike Tyson just by doing that. You could really shut him down, but it's interesting. A big up to Base the Kid. I haven't checked your video out yet, man. That's because I've been out all day, but I'm going to catch up. I haven't checked Chris's. I haven't checked Dell's yet, but big up to Base the Kid, the hardcore casual people. With 470 in the building, Base the Kid, you see it on screen. Type that into YouTube. He's got a tremendous channel, and I'm going to watch his video tonight. I just haven't had a chance, been out most of the day today. Tyson always seeing double. Yeah. Remember when he done that live stream with the glasses on? Now, it wasn't Henry Akin one day. It was, he's dead now. The guy he boxes an amateur is dead now. And was he Cuban? He might have been Cuban. I can't remember his name. But he's dead now. And I cannot remember. It wasn't Tillman. He was arrested with MTK. Jesus. No, it wasn't Henry Tillman, but I cannot remember his name. I wonder if anyone put it in the chat. No, I cannot remember his name. And Lewis's physical strength was something as well that people see. Lennox Lewis was a beast up close. Like Lennox Lewis's strength was tremendous. I don't think people can really understand how strong up close Lennox Lewis actually was. He was a freaking nature up close. I mean, George Foreman is tremendously. Shannon Briggs even said that George Foreman hit harder, but Lewis was just like hitting a brick wall. He was preparing for David Tua ability, his fleet of foot. Like Lewis lost because he got overconfident in those fights. Like against Rackman, he was smiling hands down and he got caught. Valero was brilliant. Yes, I love Edwin Valero. I love big punchers. I love big punchers. Lewis would probably. I'd pick Lewis to be Fury personally. Vitali today. Vitali today would probably be the best. Vitali today would be one of, if not the best, in my opinion. Vitali Klitschko today, man, it's a hard ask for anyone to beat Vitali. Vitali was an absolute beast. He really was. He was an absolute beast. People, I'm doing this thing now. We're going for a few more minutes. So if you want to drop a few more questions in, you can. But before I do anything, right, I'm going to drop this link in because a buddy of mine, most of you will know, Ade Oladipo is about to go live. There we go. It's in the chat there. A buddy of mine, Ade Oladipo, is going to go live now in a few minutes. So once I finish this up here, I'm going straight over there. So I'd appreciate it if you could go over, tell him G-Man sent you, and we'll have a chat there. I'm not going to finish up just yet. I'm waiting till about 8 o'clock. And I appreciate the super chat from Joe Stunner. £5. It's going in the London fund. So I'm going back to London in June. So whatever I make from YouTube with super chats between now and then, I'll be putting that in the London fund. So I appreciate the £5 super chat. Thank you so much, my man. Andy Ruiz, John McDermott. Jesus. You must not like John McDermott. Big up to Ade Oladipo. Great guy. Great guy. And Joe has the bag, has he? But Joe was saying hit the like button, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Hit the old like button. Smash the like button on this vid. And I think Ade is just going to be going live now in a minute. Whyte is overrated. The fight over, I think Whyte done well with what he had. But I think once we saw what happened, you've done well, mate. You're a decent pundit. Well, thank you, my man. Ian Watson, thank you for that. I hope you enjoyed this video. And Joe was saying, if you fancy meeting for a drink in London, let me know. So I'm going to go over probably the end of May. So the 31st of May to the following Sunday. So I know you work during the week, but if you're free on the Saturday, I'll be more than happy to do that, mate. Be more than happy to do that. For now, I'm going to pop that link in the chat. So that's the Ade stream. You'll see it just there. Go into the chat. You should go in there now in a sec. So I'm going to pop on over. There you go. I'm going to pop on over to Ade's stream. I'm going to end this here. I appreciate, we've had some serious numbers in here tonight. I appreciate that. On the way out, if you could, smash the like button, hit subscribe, all that jazz. I've got to do a review of the week because I've got my weekly review due for tomorrow, and that's going to be fun. So now for now, lads and lassies, 400 views. Love yous all. Yous are fucking amazing. Thank you for the numbers. That was amazing. I appreciate it. For now, I'll talk to yous all. Peace.